Welcome to episode 4 of the American Football Cast. I'm your host Steve today, hashtag it's Steve. We are here today with my two regular co-hosts, and today we're going to be doing the draft, amongst a few other things as well. So, quick round the houses before we start. Gav, what have you been up to recently, bud?
Just making sure that I make it through day to day. Life's been tough recently. It's been a bit of a roller coaster. No, I'm just kidding. Life's
a roller coaster. Just gotta ride it.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to think of something funnier to say, but I sort of ran out of things. I was like, oh no, I sound too serious here. How do I make this come back? So, as
I
per
thought you
usual,
were going full bleeding heart story and everything.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I started way too serious there, so I had to quickly think.
It's made homeless.
Yeah. So as per usual, I've started the podcast as awkwardly as I possibly could. So I'll be passing the baton straight over to Andrew.
Hi guys.
That was good.
I feel like I should have something more to say, but yeah, I don't. So yeah.
Can we
the ultimate professional 3?
Steve, are you okay if we just edit out the intros?
Who's edited this? Anyway, I don't know. We can answer that later.
You are.
So, Andrew, you been up to anything? Am I right in thinking you said cricket season started?
It has.
Since we last recorded.
So, I had my first session in the nets in 10 years on Tuesday night, and yeah, feeling it. It's painful, but
you got one busted arm.
Yes. Yeah, that is my passion through the summer. Is cricket. It's a great sport. And anyone who says otherwise is wrong.
A session in the net sounds like a good weekend.
It's like beer drinking.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Just setting up a table.
I thought Andrew's like got that fucked. He's like in a net somewhere.
Fished out of a canal.
Yeah. Whoa, what a weekend.
The fish.
Oh dear.
Weekend so well, did you get Gary Mackay-Stevens? There's a Scottish football reference for you there.
Steve's like,
this is Steve's lost face. I'm like, what?
What do you mean there's another type of football?
There's no other type of football in my life. Well, right. So anyway, never mind. What have I am just a tad excited before we came on because I booked my tickets to go see Infinity War. Ooh yeah,
that's awesome.
I've still not seen Black Panther.
What?
I know, and I want to
You've
see
not
Infinity
seen?
War.
Wait a minute, how come every conversation we have about film, you're like, yeah, not seen that. We just had it off air before recording.
I have, over the last couple of months, we've watched all the films in the MCU, right up to rewatching Ragnarok, in anticipation of going to see Black Panther, and then we've never been to see Black Panther, and it's really annoying me. But I'll get there.
For our listeners just now, I feel like we need to address this on here. Andrew has never seen The Mighty Ducks. Andrew is going to be leaving the podcast very shortly.
Sacked.
He failed to disclose this before joining the pod, so now that we've done our background checks,
deeply.
There's two things.
That background check thing that we do up here.
There's two things.
The government.
There's two things I don't like in my life, and that's when people don't appreciate Tyrod Taylor and they don't watch The Mighty Ducks. So,
it took
Andrew,
you
you're 2 for 2 there.
4 minutes for the first Tyrod Taylor reference. That's good going. That
is good. Expect plenty.
But wait till he hosts it, then it's flowing in there in about the first 20 seconds. Anyone that listened to episode 3 will be like, oh, here he goes again.
I think I got a mention of Tyrod in even quicker, but yeah.
So we titled the first episode after him, and you threw him in at least the first few minutes every week since.
I feel like I have to. I feel like I'm his PR guy. He doesn't know it yet, but I am.
Oh dear.
Anyway.
Right, so quick bit of news before we dive into our main event today. So obviously the main thing that's happened recently is Des Bryant got cut from the Cowboys. What are we thinking about that, folks?
I don't understand it from a Cowboys point of view. I know they don't have a huge amount of money free, but their wide receivers now are Alan Hearns, who's been pretty much injured for the last 2 seasons. When he's healthy, he's a good receiver, but yeah, his injury history is awful. Maybe Andrew will be able to update everyone on that when he...
Dr. Smith is in the house.
No,
medical reports this week.
Never sent it in. Terrence Williams, who I can't believe he's actually a receiver in the league. And I think it's Cole Beasley and Ryan Switzer. Those names just say just one sort of thing to me, really, and that means that the only way they can win is through Zeke.
He's not an elite receiver, is he? Or certainly
not anymore.
Nah.
He
but
was.
He's probably
Don't
still
get me wrong.
comfortably he's a second-tier receiver.
Yep.
And for the majority of teams in the league, that's your lead receiver sits in that second tier. He'll still do a good job for someone.
So who do you think he'll be go to? Let's do it. Let's do this. Who do you think he will go to, as in a reality term, and who would you like to see him go to?
Right, who's he going to possibly end up in? Baltimore. They seem to be early favourites in the race. They need the help anyway. Him and Crabtree could be quite an interesting duo, I think, and that might help Flacco out a bit. So that's probably where he could end up. Where do I want him to go? Let's chuck him at the Redskins. Yeah. Just so he can face the Cowboys twice a year.
I'm sure I read that his words as he left the building were, "I'll see you guys twice next season." So that leaves you with 3 teams who all have a need at wide receiver. Actually, the Skins, Eagles, and Giants. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Brandon Marshall just got cut today as well, so it leaves a bit of a space in the Giants. Don't know if the Giants really could they take him. Yeah, man, Odell Beckham, is that a bit too much diva in the wide receiver core?
Yeah, I don't think the Giants is a good fit. Not when Eli's throwing wobbly ducks everywhere.
Yeah, he can't catch the ball anyway.
So,
because that would really wind the Cowboys up.
Head off, gets his ring. If they go back to back, yeah. Ooh, what story?
I'm gonna say I think he would be amazing at the Bills. The reason for the Bills is because they have pretty much no wide receivers. They've got AJ McCarron as a quarterback, so they need to give him some sort of weapon. They'll probably draft a QB, I would imagine. So I think to have someone like Des Bryant's a good option, because I think their main receiver last year was Jones, who I think had like one of the worst drop ratings. So I think if they get Des Bryant, that'd be good. I would personally like to see him at the Redskins just to get it right up the Cowboys and no other reason. And yeah, I think Alex Smith thrown to Des Bryant could be pretty cool. So
I'll throw out my obligatory Cardinals mention this early in the pod, but it would be a good fit. And
did you know what? It's not a bad shout.
How does Des Bryant prolong his career? And going and playing for a season or 2 with the master in prolonging his career at wide receiver in Larry Fitzgerald would only be a good thing for him. And the Cardinals need more options at wide receiver as well, so I think that would be a good fit.
Do you think he's all his off-field stuff's gone? Do you think Des has got past all that nonsense in his younger years?
I think he's going to I think he's going to be probably more aggressive into this year. I think he'll have that chip on his shoulder well and truly, because I think he viewed himself as a number one, but he didn't feel like he was treated like a number one. So I think wherever he goes, I think he will be successful for at least the first year. I think pretty much any team all the way through the league, there is only a couple I would say that don't need to consider him. If you can offer him a 1-year flyer deal, then even the Texans, imagine him fitting in the Texans with Hopkins and Will Fuller from Deshaun Watson. That'd be really nice.
Yeah.
The Raiders, obviously, as you mentioned, with Crabtree. Need to replace Crabtree, the Raiders, so you could go there. So yeah, there's loads of teams I think should be looking at. It's just all about money, isn't it? So if
he's going to be holding out for the big bucks as well. So kind of depends whether teams are going to throw it or not, or does he do like, the Tyrann Matthews situation? You think he's going to get a big contract and he takes that 1 year at a bit of a discount, you know. Was he 29?
I don't think he's going to get a long-term deal anywhere, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, but I would imagine that Matthew probably had bigger offers on the table, whereas... And he's going to get that long-term deal afterwards, probably, because at his age, he's got that capability to go on. Whereas with Des Bryant, his years are more numbered, so he's probably going to want to cash out as much as he can now.
I think he's more inclined to go somewhere where he could possibly win overall. So there'll be plenty of places that I think will pay him, but I think he'd be probably looking at somewhere where he's got a chance of picking up a ring, and that could be anywhere from the Jaguars, who could do with a wide receiver, the Patriots, who could do with a wide receiver, even as you mentioned, the Eagles. They're really stacked at wide receiver, but as they seem with their running back situation, they're quite happy to be, in depth,
to be almost overloaded. Yeah, take the extra person. Why not? One person gets injured, the whole next man up mentality. Imagine having someone like him stashed. Jeez, oh.
I know. So yeah. I mean, there's plenty of places that could take him, and I think whoever gets him will get a Des Bryant that wants to prove a point, and I think you can't really ask for much more.
Seattle could take him; they could do with the help.
Yeah, that'd be good. But my only concern about Des Bryant, like if you've watched him recently, he's lost that bit of pace. He's not so much. So the reason that he probably wouldn't be good for Seattle, because obviously all the scramble plays that they do. So for him to be running about into different positions, trying to be open, probably isn't his strength. Whereas if he goes somewhere, that's why I think, maybe the Patriots or the Jags are probably the best, just because they've got good systems. They don't rely on one individual. But he would probably be the best wide receiver for either of those teams. Donnie, what's your thoughts?
It's not that he would probably be that keen on it, but how about taking him and putting him in the slot? Yeah,
I've listened and read a lot of things about this. I think that's what Andrew was sort of alluding to earlier. But I think he's best just being in the end zone. I don't think he's going to be that great against these sort of hybrid linebackers and quite physical coverage that he's going to come up against. So I'm not sure that's the best place for him. I think he'd be better just finding somewhere where he's not going to be the only target, so to speak, from a wide receiver perspective. Because obviously, for talking sakes, if he goes to the Patriots, you still have to think about Edelman. You still have to think about Gronk and whoever else that they have. I know that they picked up Jordan Matthews as well. So I'm not sure. It could end up a wide range of places. It'd be amazing if he ends up with Johnny Manziel in that crazy league. That would be fun.
So we've a Tyrod mention and a Johnny Manziel mention already. Good going. You're getting your chips in early, aren't you?
if one thing, I'm consistent.
Now, word of note in advance, Gav, just in case you've already planned this through, you're not allowed to draft either of these two, okay?
Oh. Guys, I might have to leave.
Well, I suppose that kind of segues us into the main portion of today's show anyway. So, what we are going to do is we are going to try and keep this going as an annual event, providing all goes well. This year is definitely year one, the learning year, so apologies in advance if things go horribly wrong. We're going to try and do the draft between us. We're going to do it on a rotating basis, starting off with Gav picking first, then Andrew, then myself, and then switching round as we go. What we're also going to do is we're going to chuck in pick number 33 as well, just so we've all got an equal number of picks. So, and also because the Browns really need all the help they can get, so we may as well chuck them another person too. So we're going to try and do it on the clock with a 2-minute limit. There will be people we probably want to talk about, but, sorry, Gav.
I was just going to say, who's actually timekeeping?
I'm going to try. Comish Houserath here. It's going to try and timekeep. And it's
Have I got a countdown sound effect?
That would be...
I don't. Let me see. Can I find one of them in 2 minutes? See, if Gav had his camera on, I could just throw it up to the screen and it'd be like...
He can see you.
There you go.
Well, I can see you.
Oh, you can still see? Oh, that works then.
Yeah,
so I could just hold the phone up and then you know what...
Again, for our listeners' purposes, I don't put my camera on when we're talking because my laptop runs off of batteries.
like double A batteries that are
Yeah,
rechargeable and don't work.
Duracell batteries. And also for our listeners' purposes, we do not know who each other are going to pick. So this could be a bit of fun.
Yeah, because I've had to take extra picks. When pick number 3 should be easy enough. Shouldn't really, we should know who's going there. A couple of people for the Colts. As you go further down, what was it you said, Andrew? You put 6 people aside for the Eagles just in case. So that's a bit of a wee quirk as well. That we won't know who everyone else has picked. All my draft prep I did yesterday is gone, which is really annoying. So I literally had to wing this about 10 minutes before we started recording them. The whole list of names down. So we'll see. It's definitely, most of them I think are the same people that I had yesterday. I think. We'll find out. Who knows, eh? Okay, so I can't actually remember. Gav, you're a draft watcher and have done for the last wee while. How do they ever start it? Is it literally just the clock goes up and then the analysts just blather away about something waiting for the first person to come to the podium?
Yeah, pretty much. Obviously, you have the commish come out or someone along those lines give a little...
And there's a resounding boo.
Yeah.
Boo.
So actually, boo commish Housewrath. Boo. Is there a better noise than that?
I like the Scottish football variant.
It's just everywhere he goes.
Boo!
With lots of other choice language getting slung his direction. Can you imagine if the commissioner was like in charge of the Scottish Football League up here?
My God.
There's no way he would have lasted as long. He'd be like, man, I'm not getting out of here. This is useless.
Yeah. Cans of tenants thrown at him.
Just so you know, Gav, clock is starting now. No, starting, should I say now. So your 2 minutes are up. Or no, not up, but isn't starting, so...
Wait, my 2 minutes are up.
No, starting
have I lost
now.
my pick?
No, starting now.
Steve.
Starting now. You've got 1 minute and 48. You know who it is anyway, let's be honest. It's fine.
Who has the first pick?
Do I?
Do you not?
Okay.
Do you not been prepping?
Am I the first pick? Are we going to end up spending more time me trying to figure out how I make sure that the Browns just stick with Tyrod Taylor for as long as possible?
You have the power.
I'm going to draft the worst possible quarterback. Someone that will go undrafted, I'm going to put as 1 so Tyrod Taylor stays. No, just kidding. I'm running out of time, so number 1, the Cleveland Browns will take a quarterback, and for me, they are taking Josh Allen. Josh Allen.
You went with him.
Yep, Josh Allen. I've listened to quite a few different podcasts and whatnot, and I listened to him speak, and he comes across as a leader. He comes across as someone that galvanizes the dressing room, and he's got a really, really big arm, and all the experts say that he's got the best arm out of all these quarterbacks. He can throw those deep balls like nobody's business. And I think when you've got Jarvis Landry, you've got Corey Coleman and Josh Gordon and David Njoku, that's a really nice bunch of guys to be thrown to. So yeah, that's my sort of feelings around why the Browns should take Josh Allen. He does have a few issues in terms of his accuracy, but I think Jarvis Landry is one of the best possession receivers in the entire league. So I think that's why Josh Allen is the best fit for the Cleveland Browns at the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, I was watching something on NFL Network today, Good Morning Football, and they were doing some analysis on his throwing mechanisms and stuff like that. And he had the fastest ball he'd ever recorded coming out.
Wow.
Do you know how you talk about he had his big arm? I mean, he was showing off at the combine. He was bombing at 70 yards with a smile on his face, and it didn't look like he was even putting effort into it. It was sickeningly good. I mean, that's where his draft stock really changed. Cause,
technically just on a different level. So I think that's a good pick.
And he does seem to be slowly rising. I mean, before the combine, there was no way. He wasn't even coming off the board. He might have been third, but he wasn't even a solid third. And it's just sort of through the last 6 weeks, he's just slowly chipped up. And you see more and more mock drafts coming out where he is sitting at the top. You know, they're not picking Darnold, they're taking him. And particularly with John Dorsey, that's his name, isn't it? He's just taken over.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, what he did last year, he took Mahomes, obviously when he was Kansas City. He's been known as a GM that takes a bit more of a risk.
Yeah, it goes for the upside.
Yeah, rather than the sensible, safe option. Yeah, and I'm just getting the reminder, and you're right, yeah, we're 2 minutes over already. Oh my god, pick 2 should be already in.
Pick 2, okay, so pick 2 with the New York Giants. They've got a few positions they need to address, obviously. Eli has started throwing wobblers, but I'm not sure they pick a...
Is that like hissy fits?
Oh, did he not sulk half when he
so
got
yeah,
benched
on
last
2,
season?
actually on 2 counts he started
face.
throwing wobblers. But I don't expect them to take a quarterback at 2. I actually think what they'll do is trade down, but we're not doing trades in this mock draft because they're going to be messy enough. So I think they will take
maybe next year.
the best player on the board, and they'll take Saquon Barkley.
That's interesting. Do you think that Barkley would be enough to carry Eli?
Not with the lack of other pieces around them. I think they have too many holes in the overall, particularly offensive line, I think is now a weakness. It wasn't particularly great anyway, but they lost Justin Pugh, and I think they've lost somebody else off the top of my head. Yeah, okay, they've replaced with Nate Solder, but I think they lost more pieces in the game. But just
for the future, you've got Saquon Barkley and you've got Odell Beckham, and that's 2. Obviously, Odell Beckham is already a superstar. Saquon Barkley has the potential to also be a superstar. So I think for the future that would be the right pick for them.
One very quick thing. I know we'll probably...
You've got 20 seconds. Again.
Will Saquon Barkley be fantasy-wise drafted in the first round?
No. I don't think depending on where he ends up, I don't think the team that he ends up in is going to be in a place where he's going to get the carries and all the yards. I think he'll get drafted in our fantasy league easily bottom second round, top of third. He'll be gone well by then. I don't think he's going to be in that first 10 picks though.
Okay, cool.
Right, we're way over as
Steve.
2 minutes and 17. This 2 minute limit really is difficult to stick to. Okay, so on to the Jets. There is no doubt, because they've jumped up to the 3rd pick, that they are taking a quarterback. Interestingly, you didn't go for Sam Darnold as number 1, so that leaves me in a bit of a dilemma. However, I had not picked him, so I'm going to skip him yet again, and I think the Jets are going to pick up Baker Mayfield instead.
Wow.
Yep, he's. Wow. I was listening to quite a lot of Total Access. A lot of people really like him. He did this really brilliant segment. He was behind. Oh, who was he chatting to? Oh, I forgot his name now. Anyways, some former coach, one of the guys that fronts the Sunday shows, a proper. Anyway, it doesn't matter particularly who it is. And he drafted up this scheme and he got Baker Mayfield to roll it back to him. And Baker Mayfield not only memorised everything that he had put up within the 2 minutes, he added extra stuff that the other guy wasn't even thinking about. And I mean, this former coach's face, you just seen it light up as if to say, my God, you've got brains, kid. This is amazing. His accuracy is brilliant as well. I think being in New York, he has got a little bit of that ballsy swagger as well. Could he be they always look for their next Joe Namath type things. So could it be him? Yeah, I think even with Darnold on the board, I think they would still take Baker Mayfield.
I already love our mock draft that Sam Darnold, who a lot of people have got going as the first overall pick.
We're dropping
has fallen. He's fallen. I love that as well. I like, from what I've listened to and what I've read, it sounds like one of the main reasons that teams are attracted to Mayfield as well as his leadership attributes. Apparently, he's really commanding in terms of like the locker room and all that sort of good stuff. So yeah, I like that. I like that pick.
Right, over to you. I think we're probably well in our 2 minutes next time round as well.
I think we just need to try and not go on for too long. I think our 2 minute thing's out the window already.
Well, we're at 25 minutes of the record and we're in pick 4.
Yeah, for those listening, it's currently 10 past 9 in the evening. So, yeah.
We hope to be finished by now.
We'll still be up at midnight at this rate. Right, pick 4. Go for it, Gav.
The Cleveland Browns. So at pick number 4, the Cleveland Browns take Bradley Chubb, defensive end from NC State. The reason the Browns do this is you've got Garrett on one side, you take Chubb on the other. Boom, there you go. That's a nasty defense that, and we all know Greg Williams likes to hurt people. We'll leave it at that.
He is bringing back the bounties if he's got those two.
Yeah. I don't even think he would need to from those two guys. They've got that bit of a nasty streak.
They'll be what JJ Watt and Jadinho and Clowney were meant to be, or particularly what Joey Bosa and Melvin Gordon are at the minute, you know.
Exactly, yeah, that's exactly the way I see it. I mean, the Browns addressed a lot of the offensive side, and I think that'll be fine. So now I think the rest of this draft, they focus on the D, and I think Bradley Chubb and Garrett are just, that to me is really exciting. And again, I think one of the things I've read about Bradley Chubb again is he's sort of one of these alpha dog type people who, you know, commands respect, commands, you know, the locker room. And I think the Browns having more and more characters like this on both sides of the field will help the Browns. And I'm going to put this out there now, finish on a winning record this season.
Bold. That's a bold prediction.
Bombshell.
It's not ridiculous.
You know what? It's not ridiculous. I don't know. I don't know if Jackson's the guy to do it though. That's the problem. I really expected more last season, and they didn't. And I'm just a bit unsure. I don't know what the problem is, because I'm sure his roster's a damn sight better than it was when he took over a couple of seasons ago. So what the hell is he not doing right? Is it just the quarterback that's missing? Is that the piece?
It definitely helps. So yeah, that's what I'm going for. Bradley Chubb, Myles Garrett, Greg Williams, all that is just nasty.
Pick 5, Denver Broncos. This is going to be a quick one. So I've got their needs as cornerback, edge, offensive line, tight end, wide receiver. So the highest person on my list that's going to fit there is cornerback Denzel Ward. So that's who I'm going with, and I am offering no more insight than that.
Oh, you've got Sam Darnold on the board. Kellen Moore is your starting quarterback, and you're not taking him.
Case Keenum.
Sam Darnold's there at 5.
Case Keenum.
Elway is taking him.
Sorry. The quarterback isn't their need.
Elway is absolutely drafted him. Oh,
do you think? Do you think Case Keenum's a long-term option? Oh, yuck. Okay. Denzel Ward, from what I know, he's not the tallest in terms of the secondary guys that are available, but again, it's down to his sort of leadership mentality, and a lot of people view him as the best person in the entire secondary in this draft class. So the Broncos obviously lost Talib.
Yeah.
So from that point of view, I think it makes sense. I'm just surprised that Sam Darnold's there. If on draft day next Thursday, Sam Darnold's at 5, I can bet your bottom dollar the Broncos are taking Sam Darnold. John Elway, former quarterback. Yeah, but I respect your opinion, Andrew, but it's completely wrong.
Chucked.
Cheers.
I'm just kidding. No, it makes it makes sense. It makes sense. You know what? They lost Talib. Talib was an elite guy in the secondary, so you need to replace that. You need a guy that's a leader. So why not go after Denzel Ward?
Yeah. No, it works. It works. I was just saying, it fills a need. And I mean, obviously, I think Darnold will be gone by now. Just in our one, it hasn't for reasons.
No, because I think.
But I think when it actually comes to it next week,
be gone in that top 3.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's high chance another team has jumped up for him. So, but hey, we are where we are. Let's not worry about it too much. Okay, on to pick number 6. Colts are on the podium, and
are they taking Sam Darnold?
See, this is interesting because. Well, no, definitely not. No, if he was still there, of course they'd just trade back. They'd be like, "Someone come and take our come and take our pick. It's fine. We'll gladly let you."
That would be the best case scenario for the Colts.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, because they need to stock up all over the place. So, I kind of had two minds. So this is where I was gonna go. Was Vita Vea, but that I was thinking Quentin Nelson was going to be off the board by now. If he's still sitting there at pick 6, the Colts are taking him instead. They need help for Andrew Luck on that offensive line. He is arguably the best player in the draft, albeit it's not a sexy pick. It's the good old, he's an offensive lineman, blah blah blah. But as terms of grading and on paper and all that, all the analysts had him tagged in January as if this wasn't a quarterback driven league and you weren't taking all the quarterbacks in the early picks, if it was just on pure talent alone, he would be going first or second, no questions asked. So if he's still sitting there available for the Colts at 6, absolutely they're snapping his hand off and signing him up.
That makes a lot of sense. And Andrew Luck needs a bit of protection because I think the Colts, we all probably know that they've got one of the worst defensive lines in the entire league. With an elite quarterback who's injury prone, you need to protect him, and I think that makes a lot of sense. But what I will say is that's unbelievably annoying because that's who I had going as my next pick. So thanks for that, Steve. You've ruined my life. I don't know if I'm being over the top in this episode or not. Okay, yeah, that works for me. Okay, my next pick. So again, let's remember we're on pick 6. We're going on to pick 7, which is the Bucks. Sam Darnold is still on our board, which is really interesting. And Sam Darnold isn't going at pick 7 either because the Bucks already have Jameis Winston. For me, the Bucks are going to be taking Derwin James from Florida State. A lot of people have compared him to, all the sort of really good guys that came from the Legion of Boom, from Cam Chancellor to Richard Sherman, a real physical, strong safety who can cover a lot of different positions. The Bucks last year, for anyone that watched it, and if we have any Bucks fans, you'll know that your team was absolutely awful in the defensive side of it, and they were just getting picked apart. And I quite like to throw that out there that Tampa sucked. So I don't even know any Tampa fans or anyone that this would deliberately annoy. I think I'm
sure
more
Steve
just
has
annoyed
a
that I
Bucks
picked Mike
t-shirt.
Evans first overall in our fantasy draft last year.
I've got just about every t-shirt.
Yeah, so the Bucks, they get some secondary help. They pick up Derwin James, who can be their enforcer in the backfield.
Yeah, good pick. I like it, and I think it's quite a common pick as well. Quite a lot of the mock drafts have him going to Tampa, so that's a pretty great fit all round. Andrew, who's up next?
Chicago Bears at 8. Sam Darnold still isn't going at 8 because the Bears obviously have Mitch Trubisky. So I am going for them taking the inside linebacker Tremaine Edmonds at 8.
Yeah, I've heard that he's one of the names that a lot of people in this draft are talking about, as in someone that's really sort of steamed up the boards, which is quite interesting. I think, again, the Bears have done so much on the offensive side this off-season in terms of free agency, that this is their opportunity to stock up on defensive picks. And yeah, I think Edmonds a nice fit for the Bears.
Yeah, and you've just done to me what I did to Gav. I had the 49ers taking Edmonds at pick 9, but that obviously ain't happening anymore. So the other linebacker that gets touted in the same vein is Roquan Smith to be possibly going there, but I'm going to scrap both of them now because Vita Vea is still on the board, and they need some help on the D line anyway. So Colts aren't going to take. They've snuck and got Quentin Nelson 3 picks ago. Vea's still on the board. I think Vea's going to go 49ers. Stock up that front 7. Boom, boom, boom.
That's interesting. I think a lot of people have Vita Vea really high up in terms of his attributes, but I think a lot of teams are looking at sort of some of the other positions, so it's interesting that you've got him going a little bit higher than some of the NFL guys, but then we've got Sam Darnold still on the board at pick 10.
What do we know?
At our rate, Sam Darnold's going in the second round.
Go on then, who's going to pick 10?
Do you think we can... Do you think we could call this one anyone but Sam Darnold?
Who is Sam Darnold?
Depends if we keep him. Yeah.
So we are now on to pick number 10, which is the Oakland Raiders. And again, just for the purposes, Sam Darnold isn't going to the Raiders. They've got Derek Carr. I can't see John Gruden doing anything stupid here, even if Darnold is on the board. They obviously paid Derek Carr a hell of a lot of money. So we've covered off a lot of different guys have gone, and for me, the Raiders are going to take Minka Fitzpatrick, defensive back from Alabama. The Raiders secondary is, I think we could probably fit in the Oakland Raiders secondary at the current rate, the 3 of us. So yeah, I think was it Sean Smith and Reggie Nelson probably had 2 of their worst ever performances last year, and so yeah, I think they get Minka Fitzpatrick. He's versatile, can cover almost the full backfield. A really good cornerback that'll give the secondary a bit of leadership, a bit of intelligence, which they're desperately lacking. So yeah, I think that's what John Gruden does in his first pick. It's not the flashiest, but I think the Raiders are in quite an interesting position in terms of their overall team, and I think that's the sort of stability that they need in the defensive side.
Yeah. Do you think they're in a rebuild year? Yeah, I was just thinking. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I think it's a great shout. I think again, quite a few of the mock drafts have that fit as well. So it totally works. I don't remember Gruden from last time round. It was he'd already gone into the commentating booth before I started watching again, and I don't know if he was known for big splashy, off-season type moves and draft picks and whatnot, or whether he was very sensible and actually built a squad and had his head knuckled down or not. He doesn't seem that kind of person. He's got that very larger than life type personality. But I think the fit works great. So yeah.
And that brings us on to pick number 11, the Miami Dolphins. And I actually, of the guys that I had done my prep on, I had them taking Lamar Jackson because I presumed that the top 4 quarterbacks would all be gone. So I think they would take Sam Darnold if he was still there at 11. He's going eventually.
The fall has stopped. It was like the year 2005, I think it was, that Aaron Rodgers got drafted. Gav, you'll probably know that better than me. You're a bit of a Rodgers fanboy. He was touted to be going quite high, and he fell. And was it pick 22 or something, 23, something like that? It was in the 20s that he got picked up, and he had a face on him, bless, because he was in the, I think they had him in the crowd back then rather than the green room, or maybe
I think you're right.
Yeah. And they just kept
it was like the front row sort of thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they kept honing in on him, and you could see his face, and he's sitting there going, am I going to be sitting here all night and I'm not even getting picked up? And, well, obviously that worked out wonders for the Green Bay Packers, so they're not bothered about it, but... But yeah, talking about people falling, and we have Darnold falling to 11?
Yeah.
Oh, imagine that actually happens next week. We'd be like, my God, who called that? Who called that? He called that.
Yeah, it won't happen.
Because nobody else did, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's amazing. I think Darnold to the Dolphins. I love it. They need a quarterback. Ryan Tannehill's...
on my report regularly.
Andrew... Yeah. He's a medical specialist. Sorry, the dogs have just came in the room, so Harley, go away, please.
I love that authenticity.
Sorry, guys. The actual thing I was going to say there was for maybe a fun poll. So for our guys on Twitter, if Darnold falls to the Dolphins, will his legacy be better or worse than Dan Marino's? That's it.
What a question. Carry on.
Obviously, that he would need a lot of things to happen, but he's not. And in terms of the draft, a lot of people have him going number 1 overall. We just got our ones times 2. That's why he's done at 11 for us. But yeah, he's got the potential to be an asset for the Dolphins for the next 10, 15 years. So I guess we could maybe chuck that up. If he goes to the Dolphins, will he have a better career than Dan Marino? Laces out.
Oh dear. Well, that takes us on to Buffalo Bills at number 12. So,
sorry, Steve. Just before you give your pick, do you think the Bills in real life will trade up?
Yes. Yeah, I think they're all in on getting one of the big 4. And what did I say to you today, Andrew? Was it jumping up to Chicago at number 8? So they might maybe go up there because it might to get. Oh no, we're talking about your Cardinals jumping up. Was it?
Yeah, we did because
it was.
Yeah, it was on the back of.
Well, they might need.
I saw this morning that obviously Baker Mayfield was visiting the Cardinals yesterday, and the quote was that they were blown away by him. But I don't see them going high enough to get Baker Mayfield. I think he'll be gone before they can.
Depends what it costs. I mean, 15 up to about 9 or 8 isn't too much of a. You don't have to give too much to do that. 15 up to 2 is insane. That is like, first rounders for the next 2 years level of nonsense.
Sell the farm, as they say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you'd have to be all in on somebody for that to happen, and particularly with the Cardinals, I think they're not. I think they're all in enough on Sam Bradford. Well, we'll talk about them in 3 picks because they're coming up fairly soon. Quickly, just nip back to the Bills. So I'm sitting there, and the Dolphins are on the clock, and they finally take Darnold, and I'm thinking, damn it, because I was going to take him. However, that does leave a certain other quarterback who should be well gone by now, and we have not mentioned yet, and that is Josh Rosen.
Yeah,
they totally are going to need. I think they're going to be taking a quarterback anyway. And I think if, based on the way we've picked so far, he's still sitting on the board, they're taking him.
Yep, makes a lot of sense. The Bills definitely need a quarterback. AJ McCarron is not. AJ McCarron is literally there for 2 games, has 2 bad games, then is dropped, and then whoever the draft starts. That's exactly how their season's going to start for the Bills. And I think Josh Rosen, he's a tough guy. Some of the things that I've read and heard about him is that he's almost too tough, and his attitude can come across as quite. I can't think of the right way to position it, so I'm just going to say it the way I would normally say. I was going to say a bit of a dick.
Yeah. let's just call it like that. It's fine. It's perception.
Yeah. So Josh Rosen, it's a good fit. I think Sean McDermott's a bit of a hard ass in terms of a coach, so he can maybe get the best out of him. So yeah, I think that's a good pick, and the Bills are 100% taking a QB in this draft at that pick anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that takes us on to my Washington Redskins. And you'll be delighted to know that I prepared 2 picks for the Washington Redskins, and they've both gone. So that's nice.
Who did you have out of interest?
I had Vita Vea, and then I actually stuck myself in the foot by picking Minkah Fitzpatrick earlier than I did, because I originally had Denzel Ward for the Raiders. So, so I'm the Washington Redskins, and I've got Dan Snyder, who's telling me to draft a QB, because that's what Dan Snyder does. Every single draft, we draft a QB. It wouldn't be. Part of me thinks it wouldn't be unrealistic for the Redskins to draft a QB, because I don't think we're going to drop into the top 10 picks anytime soon. So if we think Alex Smith is there for a year or 2. And let some other guy just sit behind him and learn. That's not a crazy idea if we think the right QB is in this league. This draft class. And all this is just filler to try and figure out who I'm going to pick from the Redskins. So I am going to go and say that the Washington Redskins at pick number 13 are going to take a wide receiver. We are going to take the first wide receiver off the board. A lot of people don't have these guys ranked too highly, but Calvin Ridley goes to the Washington Redskins.
Just taking Steve's Cardinals pick.
Yeah, I know. Andrew's just seen it, and you would have been liking that pick, I'm sure, as well. No, he's gone. Oh no.
Calvin Ridley goes to the Redskins. You give Alex Smith a weapon. We've got Josh Doxson.
Yep.
We've got Paul Richardson just in off the Seahawks. Jordan Reed. So you know what? You just stock up. You give Alex Smith a whole load of options. I think last year when we watched the Chiefs, it came. We actually seen the real Alex Smith in terms of how good he is throwing the ball. So let's just make sure he's got options to go for. And the Redskins, who historically in the last few years haven't taken the sexy pick, if you will. Like you might remember when we were pick number 5 a couple of years ago, picked Brandon Scherf.
Everyone hated it at the time, but he has turned out to be a golden pick for you.
Yeah, that was one of the best picks, I think. I think that was the first year I got into the NFL.
Because you're right, it's such a boring pick, and then but then if you look for, the Cowboys were they're the ones that formed it most recent memory about you go all in on your offensive line over a couple of drafts, and then that just sets you up for everything else you pick after that.
Yeah, and we've got a pretty good offensive line. We've got a good quarterback, an upgrade again in my opinion for those that have listened previously. I think Smith's going to do better than Cousins, so I think you had Calvin Ridley, and that's you got another nice piece for the Redskins. Sorry, Andrew.
Yep. So we're on to pick 14, which is the Green Bay Packers. I've got their needs as being cornerback, offensive tackle, wide receiver, and linebackers inside and out. So there's a few.
So basically, half the team.
So there's a few options here. outside linebacker Raquan Smith, inside linebacker Leighton Vander Esch,
Yeah.
or cornerback Jair Alexander. I'm going to go with Raquan Smith, outside linebacker, as the Green Bay Packers number 14 pick.
Yeah, I think that works quite well for them, actually. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, that'd be a really nice pick. That'd be a nice compliment for Clay Matthews. And what's their other guy called? He's
Mike Daniels?
Mike Daniels, yeah, that's it. So that'd be a nice fit. And I think, again, obviously, Roquan Smith, a lot of people have him going in the top 10. So if he's there for the Packers at 14, I think that's an absolute no-brainer, because their defense, again, is their biggest issue, because you can rely on Aaron Rodgers to get you out of almost any situation. So his issue was just that he was on the field pretty much all the time. So if you can get someone like Roquan Smith, then yeah, I think that'd be a really nice move.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I do like that one. Alright, on to 15. Picks are flying in fast. Here's the commissioner again, up to the stand. Cardinals are sitting there and they are crying because Calvin Ridley is off the board. So thought they were going to go. Anyway, so then you're kind of humming and hawing and you're going, do you take Lamar Jackson? Had thought about that. What I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna sit on the year and I'm gonna hope that Bradford is okay. And what I'm gonna do to help him though is I'm gonna give him another piece on his offensive line. However, I'm kind of torn between two people. I'm thinking they might go guard with Isaiah Wynn. I think that's who I'm picking now. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. And again, for those that have stuck with us through these initial episodes, will know that I think Sam Bradford's made out of chocolate. So I thought I would just get that back in there again for continuity purposes. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Steve-O. I think if the Cardinals are going to put their chocolate eggs in the Sam Bradford basket, then I think that you're right. You have to protect him. You have to try and keep him upright. So you know what? Anyone across the offensive line, regardless of who it was, it's a good pick for the Cards, and it also gives David Johnson that bit more protection as well. And you never know how he's going to come back off of his injury report. But again, Andrew, what's your thoughts on David Johnson and his medical?
Well, we touched on this before. It was a broken wrist. It's not like he tore an ACL. He'll be fine. I expect him to come back at the same level as he was at before.
Correct me if I'm wrong. To be a running back, you have to hold the football. To hold the football, you need to have a strong wrist.
He'll be fine.
Watch this. He'll break his wrist. He'll break his wrist week 1 this season. It'll be like,
if he does, I will cry.
Do you think that's what the doctors said to him? They're like, "Oh, I've broke my wrist," and they're like, "David, you're fine. Okay, you're fine. Can you go away now?" Especially American doctors charging them like $700,000 for paracetamol.
Come and see me again next week.
I think David Johnson he'll be gunning for the 1,000 again this season, and there's a good chance he'll get it.
Yep, makes sense. Okay, so that takes us to pick number 16, to the Baltimore Ravens. And I did have a few different things in my head. Stupidly, I also sort of chopped off one of my options by picking Calvin Ridley, but if I didn't, Steve-O, I think you maybe do. So
he was totally going to the Cardinals before you took him, yeah.
Yeah. So the Ravens, I think, are a weird team. They're so average. Like, they're so, 6 or 7 out of 10.
Continually bland. They are beige.
Yeah. And I think that stems from Joe Flacco, because he's a beige quarterback who miraculously won a Super Bowl.
That wasn't miraculous, dude. That was possibly one of the greatest postseason performances over a series of games ever. He was absolutely ripping it. Yeah. It was unreal.
I'm not disputing that. What I'm disputing is the fact that he's not shown that form since.
Oh God, no! Outside of those 4 games, he's been, as you say, just perfectly average, just Joe average.
Average Joe. So
just your average.
Not G.I. Joe. He's just average Joe.
Average Joe Flacco. Sorry, Ravens fans. Because I think there's a really nice guy on our Twitter who's like the Baltimore Ravens fans UK who gives us quite a bit of love. So if he picks up this, then I'm sorry that we don't like Joe Flacco.
If he's a real Ravens fan, he doesn't like Joe Flacco anymore either. So it's all good.
So at pick number 16, to get back on point, rather than just hate on Joe Flacco, the Ravens they realise that their best way to progress is to keep going with that defense, and they pick up Marcus Davenport. He's an outside linebacker, and I think the Ravens do have quite a sneaky good defense. So you know what, you just add to that. You take someone who's going to add some, real fire, aggression to their edge rushers, and I think he's a really raw sort of player. And obviously the Ravens have got a good history of developing that sort of styled player.
Yeah, I love it. I actually had him as my backup for the 49ers just in case Fitbaw was off the board, which I didn't think was likely, but I had him sitting in that list of backup players as well. So if he's still sitting there at 16, I don't think he will be. I think he'll be gone by then. I'm trying to think it through. He's probably not going any higher than 10, but I don't know if he'll be as low as 16. He's moving around a lot. He went right up the draft charts early. He's kind of fallen back a little bit, just due to other needs and whatnot from teams. But he is quite raw. He's got a bit of that. I think he's got a bit of the Ziggy Ansahs about him. It's probably maybe the closest in recent years. Somebody who's athletically gifted and has the tools to be good, but he hasn't played a lot. He hasn't got a lot to back it up, so he's slightly more of a project, but he has played. He's had a short season, so he's had enough to be worthy of a really high pick.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on there. I think one of the first drafts I've seen him being like pick number 6, number 7, something like that.
Yeah, he was way up there. Yeah, it was another Broncos were taking him at 5.
Yeah, I'm sure I've seen that, and then I think he's just slowly fell down the board, and I think there's loads of teams that could take him if he's available. So I think it's a good fit.
Cool. On at the Chargers at 17, Andrew.
Chargers at 17, yeah. So I got a couple of options.
So let's make Kev happy. What are we going to give him?
Well, I had beforehand I'd identified Leighton Vander Esch as an inside linebacker as a possible option. But actually, what I think, if Lamar Jackson's still on the board, they need to start planning for life without Phil Rivers, I think.
Yes. When I said this to Kev, he had an absolute hustle.
Will we make it so then, Andrew? Will we make it so?
A wobbler.
we know he's hating on it. Yeah.
So, Kev, I'm giving you Lamar Jackson.
Love it.
That's it. We've now lost him as a listener forevermore. It was a fun ride in 4 episodes, Kev. Thanks very much.
We're slowly as a podcast ticking off all our friends. I think we've already lost Donnie about 5 times. I think
he hasn't left the group chat. We're doing okay.
Donnie, there's your cue. Lamar Jackson to the Chargers is he's a totally different type of player to Rivers, which is interesting. But again, I think you're right. Do they think that they need to take that succession plan now if that player is available? If they think Jackson has the potential to be a Russell Wilson type quarterback of the future, I'm not too sure. I think they could do. The Chargers are an interesting team because they're very close to being really good. So yeah. I don't know, Steve. You got any different thoughts?
Not massively, no. I think all the drafts have them taking Van Der Esch. I think seems to be pretty static across most of the boards. Certainly, linebacker would be the position for them. But yeah, I get the move. I get planning for the quarterback. Jackson, has he been as low as that recently? He's always gone by now, is he not? In the more recent drafts, and I think he will be by next Thursday as well. I can quite see 6 quarterbacks going. Yeah.
4 of the top 5 are going to be quarterbacks
with some movement. Yeah.
So I do think chances are he goes in the top 10. So yeah, I don't see him slipping down as far as 17. But if he's still there at 17, then I think it's a good move for the Chargers to go to him.
Yeah. Yeah, it works.
So 18.
Seahawks, yes. Okay, so I this is one I do remember from all my pre-draft work that I did, and I am looking at the needs just now for the Seahawks, and they've got they need help at cornerback, defensive line, offensive line, safety, tight end, and I'm going to scrap all that because the person I picked yesterday is still going to be the guy I'm going to pick, and I'll tell you why. It is Darius Geis at running back. Okay, now he himself is really borderline upset that he is not going to be the number one guy, but we all know it's going to be Barkley, so that's fine. So he was on Good Morning Football yesterday, and actually, do you know what, he came across really well. But the good thing that I noticed about him, and it's something I didn't know that much before, he is one of these power running backs who would rather run through somebody than a scat back, Le'Veon Bell, find a gap, run round, jitterbug all over the place. He is going to grab the ball and he's going to pound through. And do you know who they used to have that did that? None other than Marshawn Lynch. So he is going to go to Seattle. He's going to be the Marshawn Lynch 2.0. He's going to help Russell Wilson. That will also help that defense that is going to, they need some help anyway. But they give him the ball 30 times a game, and he's going to chew up the clock, which will help them as well. So I think Geis goes to the Seahawks.
Absolutely love that pick, Steve. I think, if I remember rightly, did he sit behind Leonard Fournette, or were they a 1-2 punch when they were at the same college?
Yes. He was kind of behind him. They were very 1-2, but Fournette had more of the carries. But obviously, because he got picked up last year, he became de facto number one. This most recent season, and he did. Yeah, I don't know what the numbers are off the top of my head, but I know they were really decent.
Yeah, I think your logic behind it makes a lot of sense. I think Seattle, Pete Carroll need to get back to. They've lost so much of their identity in terms of like their position. Not position, their players. So I think Geis fits that mold. As you mentioned, he's a big body, strong. He's just gonna fall forward. Rather than take that sort of jump cut, scatter back style, he's just going to go. What is it they always say in the NFL, north to south? That's his way of doing it. So yeah, I think that's a great fit. I like it.
On to the Cowboys.
So my preparation.
I've just remembered, hence the laugh before you've even said it. I just remember what you put in the WhatsApp yesterday.
So we done a little bit of prep around every team, and it was all like, so for example, it could be QB, defensive end, defensive line, all depending on loads of different things, trying to make sure that some of this had some sort of logic behind it. So when I looked at the Cowboys, I thought, okay, so they've got a big need at wide receiver as their main focus. They've got a big need at wide receiver as their second focus. And they've also got a big need at wide receiver at their third focus. So there is absolutely no way that the Cowboys are taking anything other than a wide receiver, especially after losing Dez Bryant. So, there were so many different people that I thought they could have taken at this pick, whether it's Cortland Sutton, DJ Moore, but I'm going to go for Christian Kirk. I think a lot of this wide receiver class has been sort of mixed in terms of evaluation, but Kirk comes from Texas A&M. There's your selling point. That's his college. So if he's a Texas local, that ticks a huge box for Jerry Jones. Mm-hmm. They get a local guy. I think the way that the Cowboys are, they want to support their like locals a bit more. There was a lot of talk that they wanted Manziel just because he was from Texas. So I think you get Christian Kirk. I think from what I've read, and again, I don't want to give an impression of that I think any of us do, that we're super knowledgeable in terms of the college game. But I think Christian Kirk, he's classed as like a really smooth route runner. Dak Prescott needs that bit of security, so I think that's why they take Christian Kirk. I
mean, you're totally right. They are 100% drafting a wide receiver. So. Yep. Yeah, that's he was second on my board as well. So yeah, who went it now? Detroit
Number
Lions.
20, Detroit Lions.
I see you beavering away at work.
I'm going to make it quick here. They have a need at guard, and Will Hernandez is on.
Oh, you done it to me again!
So I'm going with Will Hernandez for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, no, I do like that fit actually. So who is Bengals are next, aren't they? Yeah, so I had him going to the Bengals with the next pick, but obviously I think the Lions need a bit of help on the defensive line as well. They do need running back as well. Quite a lot of people have Geis going to the Lions at 20. Obviously, in our board, he's not there though, so I think they go a bit more sensible. They take some more help on the O-line. 21. Okay, yeah. So the Bengals, right? So they're sitting there crying their eyes out now because they everyone keeps losing who they need. So who we got? So I had the three I had sitting there. It was Will Hernandez and Isaiah Wynn, who I obviously picked higher up. So that probably leaves next tackle available. I was get Mike McGlinchey off the board. I think the Bengals are going to need some help. They picked up Cordy Glenn, which is quite a good move for them.
Yep.
They, however, have not replaced the loss of Andrew Whitworth. That was massive. And is it Kevin Zeitler? He moved at the same time, did he not?
Yeah, that's right. He went to the Browns?
Yes, I think so, yeah. I'm doubting myself, but I think you're right. And so they've been a little bit short on the offensive line. And I think that kind of, obviously then, Dalton suffers a wee bit because of that. The running backs have not been great. A couple of seasons ago, I thought Hill and Bernard were ready to be the next massive 1-2 combination, and they kind of both kind of tailed off. So I think that the Bengals will pick more help on the offensive line, but with everyone else gone, I think Mike McGlinchey's the pick at this point.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I liked Joe Mixon last year. I thought he showed flashes of being really good. So if you give him that bit more time, improve your offensive line, then I think that makes sense. And I think Andy Dalton, I think he was one of the most sacked quarterbacks last year. I don't know the stats, but I believe that. I think that rings a bell. Yeah. Another thing, and this is on a completely separate note, just on something you mentioned there. I don't know if you know that Jeremy Hill's actually signed with the Patriots. That was a weird one. I didn't know that.
I know he got cut, but I couldn't remember him catching on anywhere.
Yeah, he's at the Patriots now.
So is he going to be their new LeGarrette Blount? Their goal line, hammer it in type guy.
That's what I would imagine. But they also obviously lost Dion Lewis as well, so who knows what the Patriots are going to do. But in Belichick, we trust, Donny? So I should really stop hating on Donny. Okay, so talking about hating on Donny, I'm going to go to the Buffalo Bills, a divisional rival. So in our draft, we have them at pick 12 taking Josh Rosen. So you've got your quarterback of the future. I think you then protect your quarterback in the future, and you go get offensive tackle Colton Miller. From what I've heard and read is that he is unbelievably athletic. Coming out of UCLA, he's got a lot of movement, able to do a lot of shifts, and he could really quickly be an elite blocker for Josh Rosen. And I think it's always good for these sort of younger quarterbacks to have people that they can trust and protect them. And I think that's something the Bills need to address. Obviously, they lost Cordy Glenn, as you mentioned, Steve-O. They also lost Richie Incognito, and they lost someone else who I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm sure they lost three.
Eric Wood, their centre. Did he not retire? Yeah.
That's exactly it. So they lost, their offensive line is decimated. So they have to take their QB of the future, and they have to protect them. So Colton Miller from UCLA, offensive tackle, to the Bills at pick number 23.
And the other good thing about that, just because you said UCLA, I can't find him on the draft list. I was just double checking that. That's where Rosen comes from. So it's his tackle from college, going to follow him to the same team in the NFL.
I didn't even realise that.
Absolute win-win.
Yeah, that makes it even more. Obviously, I meant that.
Yeah, but oh, I can't even bring the words to myself. How in the know are we? We are obviously better at this than we give ourselves credit for. Oh, I jest, but it absolutely works. Yeah.
But yeah, I think obviously now that you've shared that bit of info, I think you tick a huge box there, because those guys are probably both going to be there for at least 5 years, learning the game together. The Bills get their offensive line a bit beefed up again. They get their QB. That's a good draft for those guys.
Absolutely, yeah. Right, Andrew.
The return of the booze. It's the Patriots.
Boo! Fucking boo!
23 have the
They're getting
Patriots,
booed just for being the Patriots.
So what do they need? Well, they have an average quarterback, so they need to replace him.
Donnie Taylor's just left the group chat.
But the top 5 quarterbacks are gone, so we're not going to give them a quarterback. What other needs have I got? Cornerback, linebacker, safety. Who have I got? I'm going to go Leighton Van Der Esch at inside linebacker.
Andrew, can you do me a favour? Can you say his name like, I don't know if you'll remember it, but Steve, you'll definitely not know this, but you remember when Steve McLaren was in Holland?
I've seen it. I know what you're on about because they keep sharing it on Facebook every now and again just to take the piss out of him. Every time he gets a new job, remember that time when Steve McLaren went to Holland and learned how to speak Dutch?
Can you
with
please
the
pronounce his name?
23rd pick, the New England Patriots will take Leighton Van Der Esch.
Oh, that is amazing.
Awesome. Love it. He even sounds like a Patriot.
He does. They'll get. Who did they lose? Not Jared Mayo. Hightower.
Yeah, that's right.
Last season to injury. So you get him back healthy as well. You plug Leighton Van Der Esch in next to him. That's all of a sudden a really solid part of your defense.
I don't know if any of you guys are going to know this. I'm going off topic again. I'll try not to because this has already been really long. But who's their defensive coordinator now? Because they obviously lost Matt Patricia.
I don't know off the top of my head, dude. No.
Okay, that's that one done.
So I think
we will not look it up right now.
Let's move on quick from here. So I think maybe one sentence for each pick from here, because we're at an hour and 10 minutes, and people will start to be falling asleep.
Well, we've only got 8 picks to go. We're fine.
Yeah.
So Carolina Panthers. Who did I have for them? Right. Oh, good. None of these people have gone. So they need some help in cornerback and safety and whatnot. I was thinking that they would probably pick up a wide receiver. The Benjamin trade last year kind of depleted the wide receiver core a little bit, but I get why they moved him on. I don't think it didn't work properly for him and Cam Newton. I think they're going to pick up a replacement in here. Who are they going to get though? I think out of the ones that are left, I think DJ Moore goes at this point rather than any of the other ones. He's most mock drafts I've seen, I think he's already gone by about pick 24.
Yep.
I think he's generally regarded the third. Some people take him as the second wide receiver though. Him and Kirk seem to kind of be fairly interchangeable. Ridley does seem to be kind of the number one off the board, but then it's either DJ Moore or the other boy. I've just forgot his name. Christian Kirk, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I think that's who the Panthers are taking at this point.
Makes a lot of sense. They need to upgrade that area, so that's fine. Okay, so we've gone from the Panthers to
Titans.
The Tennessee Titans. Mike Vrabel is their coach. Am I right in saying
you can't
that,
draft
everyone?
him? Yes. Okay.
Mike Vrabel. So he is a defensive-minded coach, moving from the Texans. So he takes an outside linebacker in Harold Landry from Boston College. From what I know, Mike Vrabel was, I think he retired just a couple of years before I got into the NFL. So I think he gets, as they say again in the NFL, a blue-collared player, someone that just wears his heart on his sleeve, and that's Harold Landry from Boston College. He's Boston strong, so that'll do for the Tennessee Titans.
26, Atlanta Falcons. I've got them taking Daron Payne, defensive tackle. Have I done it to you again?
That is 3 times now. Oh my god. Yeah, I had him going to the Saints with the next pick, so yeah, I'm back at the drawing board. But yeah, no, absolutely makes sense. They need total help on the defense. I feel like the Falcons have needed help on defense every draft for about the last 5 or 6 years. I don't know what is going on. This is a team you just, for whatever reason, some people, you just don't like them for some reason. For me, it's probably the Steelers. I give them a lot of hate. I don't know why. I just hate them.
I don't like the coach of the Steelers. What's his name again?
Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, I don't like him. He's a bit of a dick. I think so far in this podcast I've said I hate a lot of teams and I called a lot of people a dick.
There isn't a team out there that I properly dislike yet. But,
Yet.
You'll find one.
Yeah,
you
definitely
put that
qualify
yet
that with
automatically.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll either happen this season or next at the very latest, but possibly this season. There'll be one team in particular like, oh, god damn them again.
Probably be the Rams, because they're just going to dominate us again.
No, love the Rams.
I love the Rams too. I love everything about the Rams.
Who don't have a pick in the first round. Shame. Never mind. So, Saints are on the board. Right, see, so Daron Payne has gone, but the position is the same. I'm still going defensive line. I think they're picking up that Tavern Brian. He's another guy that has been kind of quietly chipping up draft boards. I don't think pre-combine he was really talked about a lot, but then all of a sudden he had a half decent combine. I think his pro day went really well as well, and the interviews and the things like that have gone all his way, and he's been sneaking up in there, and I'm pretty sure he is going to be gone in the first round now. And I think the Saints take him. Their defense had a massive improvement last year, but because their offense is so good at the moment, with the pieces they've got, I think it gives them the flexibility this year to load up a bit more on defense before swinging back to offense next year.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. Or even in round 2, I suppose they could probably take a tight end or something like that. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I think they want to keep the momentum with their defense, and when you've got Kamara and Ingram, you pretty much don't need to worry about too much else. And Michael Thomas as well, actually. So yeah, they're pretty stacked. Okay, so that takes us on to pick number 28 to boo the Pittsburgh Steelers, who Steve doesn't like. Steve Houserath versus the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I'm winning that one.
The Steelers, obviously, Ryan Shazier went through that horrible injury situation, not nice. So they need to think about getting a long-term replacement for him, because I can't see him coming back. I know they're saying that he's doing all the right things and all the rest of it, but I just don't think it's going to happen. So they take Rashaan Evans, linebacker. The reason I like this is he's from Alabama. If there's one thing they do good in Bama, is they create some nasty defensive guys. So he goes in, he adds a bit of grit, a bit of aggression. He's versatile, can rush off the edge as well. So I think he's a hard hitting player that gives the Steelers a lot of picks up from what they lost from Ryan Shazier. I think a lot of the analysts had this pick as well, so yeah, I think that makes a whole lot of sense.
Yep, 29 is the Jags. Again, they've got a few different needs for them. I'm going to go cornerback, because...
Ooh.
Is that a surprise?
Jalen Ramsey and AJ Boyd.
I tell you what won't be a surprise if you, for the 5th time tonight, are about to steal the person I've got coming up next. I have this horrible feeling you're about to do it again.
Well, the website I used to do my research said that they need a cornerback, and the highest rated cornerback on the list from the other website that I used to do my other bit of research is Jair Alexander.
No! Oh, damn you!
That's 4 times in a row. That's insane.
Oh, no way. Right, back to the drawing board. Right, you carry on. You've got about 20 seconds while I scan this and try and find someone to replace him.
If only Sam Darnold was still on the board.
Yeah, I've not got much more to add to that. I had sort of offensive tackle, linebacker, wide receiver, quarterback, cornerback as the needs that had been identified. Where I
think some of the mock drafts I've seen that exact pick as well. I don't want to claim to know too much about the tactical side of a defensive back, but I believe that he's again quite versatile, can play a lot of different positions. I think, you know what, you just absolutely secure and you create the new Legion of Boom, and you have Boye, Alexander and Ramsey for the next 5-10 years. So yeah, I suppose it makes sense from that point of view. Steve, have you capitulated?
I've had a quick look. It's just everything's getting thrown out the window now. I had Jair Alexander going. I had actually Harold Landry first of all, but that was a pretty tall ask. I didn't think he was going to fall quite as much. So Alexander was my backup. So that kind of puts you in. They've either got. It's going to be cornerback or safety. I think they end up going. Looking at the boards, Justin Reed's sitting there.
Who is it at pick 30? I don't think we've mentioned. What team's at pick 30?
Isn't it Vikes?
The Vikings.
Yes.
Sorry, the Vikings. Yes. I think the pick up Justin Reed at safety and pair him with Harrison Smith in the back end and just have an absolute ball in 1-2 in the back end of the defense. The defense is pretty awesome anyway. So add some extra pieces to it. Plus, his brother's got frozen out of the league for being Cap's best pal, so let's get his little brother in the league, and there's still a Reed to carry on, the family tradition. That's about my synopsis on that one.
That makes a lot of sense, I guess. Again, just stocking up what you're good at, so works for me. Okay, so that takes us to the Patriots at 31. I'm going to let you guys pick. I've got two people in mind, and I can't pick between the two of them. So tell me, do you want a running back or do you want a centre? That wasn't a rhetorical question, FYI. Okay, so you've taken
it's going to act
now.
as one. I have neither of those on my Patriots needs, so running back, maybe. Centre, maybe.
Okay.
You choose.
Thanks for your input, guys. Loved it.
We're growing weary with this.
Okay, I'm going to go with the Patriots. Take Sonny Michel from Georgia. They obviously lost Dion Lewis, LeGarrette Blount as well. Obviously that was earlier, but yeah, so they've lost the two of these guys. So I think for keeping Tom Brady secure, you take in a running back that can do a lot of different things. Sonny Michel, I've seen some places compare him to Le'Veon Bell, and obviously that's a big comparison, but I think he has all the same skill sets. He's a patient runner. He can catch the ball. So he just, to me, that just feels like you just replaced Dion Lewis that way, and you've also got someone that can do a bit of the north-south stuff as we spoke about earlier. So I think the Patriots take Sonny Michel.
And that brings us on to our Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles. Just for shits and giggles, I'm going to give them a guy called Dallas.
Yes, love it.
So Dallas Goedert, tight end, at 32 for the Eagles.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. They lost Trey Burton to the Chicago Bears in the off-season, so you get a new tight end in. And again, I think what we spoke about a couple of times throughout this, keep adding to what you're good at. Give yourselves depth. So Carson Wentz coming back, we all know how QB's like a tight end to throw the ball to, so Dallas Goedert is a fit for the Eagles. I was just going to say, I want to say everything like Steve McLaren. That's all I can do.
Dallas Goedert.
If anyone's listening from America, they're like, what are these guys going on about? I have no idea.
And if we have any Dutch listeners, I'm sorry.
Not sorry.
So our last pick, Steve.
Yeah, we have a cheeky
Browns.
bonus pick, just because there was the three of us, and ended up being 33 rather than 32. Didn't fit very well. Now, previously I'd written Will Hernandez as I win, or Mike McGlinchey if they had fallen here. I thought they might go help on the offensive line. Based on who's left there, though, I'm not sure compared to other positions of need and people that are about that taking a tackle or a guard at this point's gonna work. So I think basically, yeah, Ronald Jones at running back. I think they're gonna add to, who did you pick up from the 49ers again? Carlos Hyde.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think chuck Ronald Jones in there as a help for them. It gives them another bit of another splash player this year.
So Ronald Jones over Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
Just to play devil's advocate there.
Just to play, yeah. Well, the NFL's got it graded higher.
Not on my list.
Far higher, about 3 higher up than. They'll be bone of contention. I bet they're going to be like some of these people that are forever compared to the rest of their careers type.
Yeah.
There's always.
So my list has Nick Chubb at 34 and Ronald Jones at 45 in terms of prospect. But yeah.
Who cares? We're winging it anyway.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that's
They could
interesting.
also go cornerback. I mean, there's sort of Mike Hughes is still kicking around. No one's picked him up yet.
Josh Jackson.
Yeah,
tight end? No, they've got picked their
they've got
Njoku
Njoku
last year. Yeah, so go running back. Yeah, go running back with 33. I'm happy with that.
That's interesting because that means obviously the Browns.
And there we go.
Stocked everything up.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said earlier. They're gonna have to, eh?
Yeah, that's true.
Woo-woo. Go Browns.
We've made it. Woo!
For those of you that stuck with us throughout this week, first of all, we want to say thank you, and we do genuinely really appreciate it. It means a lot to us that you're taking the time to listen for this long, especially considering we're just three Scottish dicks talking a lot of nonsense.
Hey, talk about yourself there. Come on, man.
Yeah, so no, you know what? I think it was important that we thank the people that have stuck with us throughout this. We don't. By any
there's
means
about
claim to
two
know.
of them have made it to this point, and one of them's you.
Yeah, saying that.
The other one's whoever's editing.
So we're basically thanking ourselves at this point.
Yeah, go us.
No, you just ruined my moment of being nice. So you know what? I'll go back. No, I'm going to go back
to be nice the rest of the podcast. Why are you starting now?
Well, that's what I was trying to balance it out. I was trying to give our listeners and also show to you guys I'm not a complete dick. So yeah,
right, I'll give you the floor. I'm shutting up now.
So I guess I just want to thank Tyrod Taylor for inspiring me.
Oh dear.
To be my inspiration, my one, my only. So yeah, no, you know what? It'll be interesting to see how many we get right. I think there's a lot of things that we spoke about, which was really cool, and I think it'll be really interesting to look back on this in a couple of years' time and go, look at what we said about this guy. Did we get it right? Did we get it wrong? Not even just where did they end up, but the actual performances of the individual guys as well. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Do you ever read the articles on NFL where they do the 3 years later redrafting? Yeah,
they're really good. I like that.
I like those ones. They're brilliant.
So we are going to put our mock draft up on Twitter as well. I think we'll find a website that's just easy for us to do that.
I hope someone took it down because I didn't.
I have it all written down in front of me.
Yes, good man. That's what I thought you were beavering away at. I hope so because I didn't have it either. So
I've got them all down in front of me. So we'll get that published over the next couple of days, and we would love for you to let us know what you think, and for you to tell us how much your sides hurt from laughing at Sam Darnold falling to 11.
Because nobody else has called that yet. You've heard it here first, everyone.
We should each stick a tenner on that because that's got to be worth something.
Yeah.
Oof, that'd be crazy, man. If he falls outside the top 10. There's no way it's going to happen.
Remember, who was it?
Stranger Things, yeah.
Who was it? Was it Laramie Tunsil fell to the Dolphins, but that's because he done drugs in a mask or something like that. So that's all we need to happen. We just need Sam Darnold to have a video released to him doing drugs in a mask. Then he'll fall. Sam, you know what to do.
They were.
He would then fit right in at the Dolphins.
Exactly.
They were slating him on. Well, not slating him, but they were talking about that in Good Morning Football, saying that there's no way he runs his own Instagram account because it is so polished. It's like pictures of him as a kid, and here's a family picture having lunch, and there's no controversy. He is so. Everyone says he's like a safe pick, and I mean I don't, because we didn't watch him in college, we don't know how good he actually is, but everyone's saying that he is going to be pretty much guaranteed the best quarterback out of the lot of them. We've disagreed, which is fair enough, but we disagreed for what I feel is valid reasons.
Yep.
He is absolutely going in the top 10 somewhere. He's going to a team that's going to need him, and then, as you say, a couple of years from now, when we look back, we'll be sitting here with egg in our face going, remember that time when I picked Baker Mayfield at 3 and Darnold fell at 11? Like, oh shit. Baker Mayfield becomes the next Johnny Manziel and just, goes nuts with the fame.
Well, of this quarterback class, they say he's the one that's most likely to. He's got the off-field issues, doesn't he? So, yeah. But
all we need is him to start hanging about with Drake.
So yeah, I
Oh,
think
dear,
that's us,
right.
isn't it?
Let's go. Yeah, well, we've hit the hour and a half mark, and that's
a
kind
slog.
of pushing it. So yeah, so apologies to everyone. I kind of echo what Gav says. Thank you again for coming back to us. Let us know what you think. We've obviously changed the format a little bit throughout the weeks versus week 1, which was kind of super new and we were very sensible and polished, and we've kind of let it flow a bit more and gone a bit gung-ho over the last couple of weeks. Let us know if you're liking it, not liking it, anything. Andrew, you want to sign off?
The silence says that. Got me totally
It's way
off
too
guard
late.
there. I've just done a you. It's you that normally does that.
That's me. Because I'm hosting this week, so I can't mess things up.
Find us on Twitter at the AFcast. We'd love to hear from you. If you want to get me, you can get me at AndrewDHD on Twitter as well. We are on Facebook, but we're much quieter there. I don't think episode 3 even went onto Facebook, so get us on Twitter, please.
Is that why the numbers are down? Gav?
This is the bit that I always fuck up every single week. I'm not going to say our Twitter handle because I never remember it. So you'll find us on
so we're
Twitter.
fine.
You're clearly not listening.
You know what? I actually wasn't. I'm really sorry. So, you know what? I was actually doing something I thought was pretty sound. So I want to just quickly thank some of the nice guys in the NFL UK Fantasy League chat that we've got going with those dudes on Twitter. We've had some nice conversations, and I look forward to speaking with those guys in the future, whether it's the guys on the Collapse in the Pocket podcast or Jack Humphrey. There's a lot of other dudes in there, so we just want to say thanks for, involving us in your circle. We appreciate it. And I want to say that hopefully all the quarterbacks of this draft class die and Tyrod Taylor rules forever.
Well, I can't really end it on much of a better note than that, to be honest. But as always, I'd like to thank Fair City Podcast Network for hosting us. I'd love to thank Army of Freshmen for letting us use their music. And if anyone has listened to them because of me, please let me know. I want to just know one person has gone and listened to this band because we were cheeky enough to ask them could we use one of their songs, and they said yes. So, and on that note, I think we'll say good night.
It's
Cheers.
like 10. We've been recording
way
for
past
like
my bedtime.
And I'm now falling asleep on my microphone. Night, guys.